This week, we're in Cairo,
where I get to check out a new style of music that's become a YouTube sensation. We head to Italy for a cut-price guide to Florence.
There are many, many places that you can see for free in Florence. Florence is an open-air museum.
We find out how to make your travel pictures pop online. And we take a walk on the wild side in Spain.
Poi un po' così, un poco di miedo lo dà.
We start this week in Florence. It's one of the most beautiful cities in Italy, full of Renaissance art and architecture. But recent price increases at art galleries and museums have scared some travellers off. So we sent Keith Wallace to see if there are ways to experience this iconic Italian city on a budget.
They call it the cradle of the Renaissance, and you can see why. The streets, piazzas and galleries drip with pieces from some of the most famous and celebrated artists in history. Reel off the list of figures who worked here and you'll see what the fuss is about. Giotto, Donatello, Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci. So here's where you go if you want to see all those masters in one place. It's the Uffizi Gallery, and it's incredibly popular, and you can tell that because there's a massive queue. Are you paying the €20?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite expensive, isn't it?
A little bit, but I hope it's worth it.
Yeah, me too. This year, the Uffizi has more than doubled its entry fee from €8 to €20 if you go in the high season. Which is obviously a lot of money, and frankly more than I can afford. If you bring your family here on holiday, then you'll find your budget gets eaten into really quickly. So what they're trying to do is drive you towards their new ticket. So there's a €38 combined ticket that gets you into a variety of museums and art galleries, and also a €50 annual subscription. For comparison, the equivalent ticket at the Louvre in Paris and at Madrid's Prado Museum is €15. At London's National Gallery, admission is free.
So much impressions. We see art from 400 years, I think, so I'm very impressed.
And the price, €20?
It's a little too high, I think.
The art was pretty amazing, but at the same time, I think it should be more inclusive because that's what art's about. It's about making sure everyone can see it.
But if you're unable or unwilling to cough up, you won't completely miss out. There are incredible buildings and statues around every corner. Ciao! I got your ice cream. There you go. Francesca here tells me she thinks the city is one big open-air gallery. So, tell me about David.
So he was made by a very young Michelangelo when he was just 26 years old. He made it for the city. At the end of the 1800s, the city decided to put the statue inside the museum, and they made a copy just in the 1900s.
Wait. So that's a fake David?
Yes, that's a fake David. What? Well, it's a replica. I don't like the word fake, actually, but it's a replica of the 1900s, 1911, actually, so it's a very modern one. So we go this way to the right.
This way? But this is definitely real. Just around the corner from David lies a tiny, unassuming chapel that you'd normally walk straight past. So where's this?
Well, this is one of the hidden gems of Florence, an institution that is probably unknown even to the most part of Florentines.
The Oratorio dei Buonamini di San Martino is a charitable institution founded in the 15th century for middle classes who'd fallen on hard times. It still operates today and meets every Friday to decide who should benefit from its donations. But it's the art we're here for.
So the frescoes were made by the school of Ghirlandaio. Ghirlandaio was the main Renaissance artist, and he was, by the way, the master of Michelangelo. And you always recognize the good men because of their clothing. They have the red and black robes, and also they always have a paper in the hand because it was the contract. They needed to leave everything written down, and the money in the other hand.
This seems like an odd place to bring me.
It is.
Our next stop won't be on many itineraries, but Francesca contends the art here gives you a fascinating insight into Florentine history.
We have chapels with spires and arches and pointed arches, marbles, chapels in an Egyptian style, for example, or New Renaissance style, statues made by the greatest names actually of the 1800s.
So if you didn't want to pay the €20 to get into the Uffizi, there's still plenty to see in Florence, and you wouldn't necessarily feel like you've missed out?
Absolutely, there are many, many places that you can see for free in Florence. Florence is an open-air museum.
But the Renaissance was about science as well as art, so here's one final recommendation I've been given. Inside this Florentine palace, they're attempting to find out the following. If I take a bean plant down a fast slide, will it feel as stressed as me? I'm serious.
Okay.
Well, this is a good contraption, isn't it? I need one of these for just pottering around the garden. The slide was designed by Carsten Holler, who's installed similar chutes in London's Tate Modern and New York's New Museum. Bye-bye. And it's a bit faster than you expect. Once you're down, you hand over your little green friend for some tests.
And take it for the measurements. Here. People say, oh, I talk to my plants all of the time, but there's really no scientific evidence to say that we could find that perhaps, yes. And we're doing this through measurements of whether or not the plant can bring in CO2 or release water, and we're looking at whether those values change depending on the conditions. So if they went down the slide, or if they did not go down the slide, if they went down with the person or not.
Okay, so what kind of results are you seeing so far?
The control plants that are coming from the growth room have the highest values of photosynthetic rate, for example. And the plants that are going down the slide, those values are a little bit lower. And when we have them go down a slide with a person, those values are even lower. So there is something negative that is happening with the plant and that experience as it's going down the slide.
While the results are inconclusive as yet, my plant, it turns out, showed signs of severe stress and leaf trauma. The Florence experiment continues at the Palazzo Strozzi until the 26th of August.
Keith Wallace exploring the beautiful city of Florence without breaking the bank. And if you're keen to take a trip to Italy, here's some travel show tips on things to maybe think about before you go. If you're after a beach holiday, the southern region of Campania might be worth a look at this year. It's now got more Blue Flag Clean Beach Awards than any other area of the country except Liguria and Tuscany. In total, Italy now has 10% of all the world's Blue Flag beaches. The Sistine Chapel is a perennially popular thing to see in Rome. But there's a new show that brings some of Michelangelo's stunning frescoes to life. Secrets of the Sistine Chapel uses electronic music, laser projection and high-definition images of the artwork in a €9 million stage production. But if food is at the top of your lists of reasons to visit Italy, then why not check out a foodie theme park that's recently opened close to Bologna. Italy World opened at the end of last year, and it's a massive site where you can explore food factories and attend a choice of up to 30 events or classes every day. Well, we're heading across the Mediterranean now from Italy to Malaga in Spain, where you'll find the Caminito del Rey, or King's Path, which has been described as one of the world's scariest hikes. I'd look away now if you're not a fan of heights. Ooh.
You look like Caminito.
Cueva de Gaitanejo. La cueva de Gaitanejo es una de las evidencias arqueológicas más interesantes de todo el trayecto del Caminito del Rey. y es uno de los 7 sitios neolíticos que conserva el caminito con aproximadamente 7.000 años de antigüedad. En su origen fue un camino de servicio para el control, vigilancia y mantenimiento del canal que hacía operativa la central hidroeléctrica del Chorro. Pero en el año 1921 el rey Alfonso XIII realiza una visita y desde entonces se puso famoso el lugar porque le empezaron a llamar el Caminito del Rey. Todo el recorrido por estas grandes paredes está jalonado de fósiles. Son fósiles de época jurásica, monites y otros fósiles marinos.
Poi un poco sí, un poco de miedo lo da. Pues mira recto, pasando.
No ha mirado abajo.
No, mirar abajo nunca, siempre recto.
Still to come on the travel show.
Mike's here with the latest in trending travel, including the buskers who've gone cashless and the best colours to use to make your pictures pop online. And I hit the streets here in Cairo to meet the young performers at the forefront of a new music craze that's taken the country by storm.
So stay with us for that.
It's time for Trending Travel, our pick of the best travel-related stories, photos, and videos that have come across our feed this month. More and more of us are going cashless on our travels, but as we switch to contactless cards and mobile payments, there's one type of person that misses out: the humble busker. There's no space for change in a digital wallet, leaving a trail of empty hats and guitar cases. That's why London recently became the first city in the world to try out contactless payments to street musicians.
It's just so much better as a busker because it means it doesn't interrupt my flow, because I can just play and then someone can tap and it just resets and I don't have to stop playing to re-input the amount. I just leave it and it just stays the same all the time. I think it's growing. I think it's something that people will need to get used to over time. I'm hoping that in the future it will be something that people use really regularly. People seem really impressed by the idea of it in general because I think it's so much more convenient for people. This is the future.
If the world's your office, it can be hard to find a quiet space to work. That's why business travelers going through New York's LaGuardia Airport have the chance to book a Jabberbox. It's an office on demand, a bookable cubicle with internet access and a charging port. This is the first one that's been installed in a public place. You'll have to pay for the privilege though. Prices begin at $10 for 15 minutes. And researchers from ad agency the Pantone Color Institute claim to have identified the science of sharing, the 4 colors most likely to get your travel pictures liked and shared. Drum roll, please. The 4 colors are aqua blue, mud brown, leaf green, and coral pink. So find a scene that combines those 4 elements and watch the Instagram likes pile up. Now for some of the best photos you've sent us using the hashtag #TravelTuesday. Scott sent us this view over Greenland from the cockpit of his 747. Kiara followed this road to the Old Man of Storr in Scotland. And Slavomir shared this rainbow sunset from Slovakia. Now let's look at the travel videos clocking up the views this month. Lebanon marks 75 years of independence this year. The country has seen its fair share of conflict over the years, and travel warnings remain in place for several areas. But we spoke to 2 filmmakers about their experiences.
I was born and raised in Lebanon.
So to express this special relationship with my country, I wanted to shoot and show intimate moments. For example, when my grandma is cooking. If you would like to visit the country, first of all, don't forget to try all the Lebanese food, because the Lebanese cuisine is extremely fabulous. Second of all, don't be scared to interact with Lebanese people, because Lebanese people are really friendly.
My videos are dynamic first. I like to use my camera like a third hand almost. When I'm shooting, I move a lot. I look for people, faces, architecture.
And don't forget, if you have a favorite travel moment you want to share with us and the rest of the world, make sure to tag us with hashtag BBC Travel Show.
Well, to finish this week's programme, here in Cairo, a new music genre has risen from the streets to inspire a fresh-faced generation of stars, and I've been to meet some of them. Since 2002, tourists wanting to hear traditional Egyptian folk music have gone to the Makan Cultural Centre. Tonight, the band Mazahir is playing Zar, which has roots in East African ritual. In Egypt today, there are supposedly only a handful of people that still perform it.
I've been told that Zar is mainly performed by women, and that hypnotic, rhythmic thumping of drums is seen as a traditional and ritualistic form of community healing. It's really spiritual.
But on the streets, there's a new kind of music that mixes folk traditions with an aggressive new sound. This is Maragan.
عزبة محسن جبل ديابس حالينا احنا العصابة مهما حاولت وما غفرت احنا بنضرب دبابة.
Maharagan means festive, it means festival, and it's very much a street music. It evolved from a previous genre called Shabi, means of the people or popular, and it's very, very unique to Egypt and specifically Cairo. It's loud and brash, and it has its roots that are quite similar to the way hip-hop evolved in New York. You'll mostly find them, 90% of the time, in sort of working class areas, in small alleyways. They'll just put on a show, bring out the lights, bring out the speakers, and put on the show in the street.
And how are tourists receiving the music?
Yeah, because it's really sort of commercializing at this point. It's sort of, it was an underground type of music and it's filtering up to the commercial scene. You will see them in the sort of classy nightclubs sometimes play one of these tracks. And it's very now and it's very unique to this period that we're in these days.
Do you think the revolution and the protests, do you think from that there was a lot of creativity born?
Absolutely, absolutely. Say what you will about the status of Egypt right now, what is abundantly clear is that people have sort of come out of their shells. There's this kind of sense of self-expression that perhaps wasn't there so much before. Previously, a lot of people wanted to look outwards for music and arts and culture, so they looked to the US and the American scenes for the music that we all listen to. But recently, it's sort of being a source of pride that we're producing a very interesting type of music that is being very well received.
Maragan has launched the careers of a new generation of Egyptian music stars. And I'm about to meet a band who have had a hit that has had, get this, 125 million YouTube views.
Shobik Lobik is a three-piece band from Alexandria. Hassan writes and composes the songs. His friend and collaborator Ahmed is one of the managers. And Ahmed's cousin Ferris is the singer. Despite these defined roles, they still have some creative differences.
And what about your biggest hit single? What was it called?
ما تردي مكان وقف معلش من اول بقى تعال اقعد مكان انت يا استاذ فارس تعال اقعد مكان يا استاذ فارس حسن اقعد يا عم
حسن
A lot of Mahragan combines driving beats with performers singing about the issues that affects their lives. There Is No Friend is about friendships falling apart.
دي شهرته في مصر شهرته زي الأغنية الشعبية في مصر ديت حتة بالأغنية الشعبية بيغني للناس فالناس بتحب الحاجة البسيطة برضو هي بتبقى موجودة مثلا في وسائل المواصلات عندنا في مصر وسائل المواصلات وهي ماشية يعني ايه بيحبوا يشغلوا أغاني وعبر وسائل
And what about abroad? Are you going to play in other countries? Will you come to the UK and play in some festivals?
طبعا
أكيد مفيش مانع
أكيد طبعا
ده شرف لينا
كان مبوظ لك مسطرة جايب ورا تصبح مرة طلع سلاحك متكامل هتعورنا جايب ورا تصبح مرة مالكش قيمة وسط البشرية
Other Mahragan performers have started to play sets at European nightclubs. For now, club nights remain the best chance for Cairo's tourists to catch these modern Egyptian beats.
Sadly, that's your lot from us for now. Join us next week when...
Mike is in Bulgaria diving for long-lost treasure in the Black Sea.
There is a giant flying saucer slowly flying over your head.
And getting an exclusive travel show look inside a fascinating building from the country's more recent communist past.
Make sure you join us for that if you can. And don't forget, you can keep up with us in real time on social media. All the details should be on your screens. But from me and all the travel show team here in Cairo, it's goodbye.